There was once a 34-year-old Grand Wizard that earned his great title of Great Sage through having never touched a woman in his life. His little homie on the other hand got himself a girl and for some reason is inviting Sato here out on a date. While he's out on a date with his girlfriend. It makes no sense, but since they're probably in London, some random thug ran at them like a maniac, and when his homie was about to die, he jumped forward and took the fatal wound instead. He started dying and no one really gave a hell. He made sure though to tell his bro to wipe his hard drive because he's not gonna be able to rest easy if it isn't. Yeah, I got you, bro, but I called you out so I could actually show off my girlfriend like a jerk. Sato then died just like that while regretting that he never pursued a woman in his life. But in this next life, he's gonna make sure to be an absolute menace. But while he's trying to rest, this annoying voice says he's going to be a predator in his next life. It sounds really bad, but you'll see that it's actually really useful. He eventually wakes up as a slime and begins bouncing around. He was blind, so he began eating whatever he could find. He finds out that he has a system inside of him that talks to him about his skills and stuff. The most notable is the skill, Predator, that allows him to eat this crystal rock and keep it inside him. While exploring though, he fell into water and easily escaped by propelling himself out of the water like a hose. He took damage after landing, but was easily able to heal. Then Kratos' voice began calling out to him. Rimuru was wondering what this baldy was talking about. Then this black figure roared and almost made him crap himself. Turns out, Rimuru is legally blind and the figure forgives him. He decides to teach Rimuru how to see. It's easy. If you're blind, just stop being blind. Wow, amazing advice that everyone should follow. Rimuru was finally able to see, so after checking himself out in the water, he turned back to see this massive overgrown lizard. This dragon is called Verdora, the Storm Dragon, who's locked in here for burning down hundreds of humans. Free my boy Verdora. Rimuru and him become good friends, and the dragon actually has the personality of a cute yandere girl. Rimuru was gonna leave, but since he didn't want to leave his new buddy behind, he suggested that Verdora gets into his belly. It's weird, but Verdora actually ends up accepting, since it will allow Verdora and Rimuru to break free from the prison. Verdora was actually very happy about this, so he lets Rimuru name him Verdora Tempest, and the slime was given the name Rimuru Tempest. Rimuru then devoured him whole and was like, now what? The Adventurers Guild did notice something off when the most dangerous dragon in history randomly disappeared. Rimuru was chilling in the cave, bored again. He learned a new skill and was about to use it to violate this giant snake. Rimuru was scared at first, then did a pro gamer move by slicing the snake's head off. Brother became a menace after learning the water slash. He went after a lizard next. He melted it with poison and turned it into a pile of poop. This centipede then pulled up on our boy and thought he was him, only to get diced into a million pieces. This caked up spider also tried, only to get its cake diced up too. Rimuru has already proven himself to be an absolute menace. Like, look what he's doing to this poor bat. He learned to speak now after devouring that bat, but after traveling through the cave, he encountered a group of adventurers that were sent to investigate the disappearance of the storm dragon. When they went invisible, Rimuru snuck out behind them. He was finally free. The new world was beautiful and really cool. He ran into some pathetic goblins who were shaking right in front of him. They asked why Rimuru was doing it in the wrong hood, but Rimuru was confused and thought that they were talking to someone else. So he began yelling at them like an Asian mom, which made them all grovel at his slime feet. They explained that they sensed a powerful aura in the woods and seek help. After this, it led him to their humble village. The old man began telling him about the dragon Verdora's disappearance, so the monsters in the woods have begun attacking the smaller monsters like goblins. As Rimuru is asking why, they're asking help from him, since he's just a lowly slime. They just laugh and said, "You jest, sire. Everyone can tell you're powerful by your overwhelming aura." Aura? What aura? So he looked at himself and realized, damn! On him? He praised them for noticing his overwhelming presence before concealing all of it smoothly. Rimuru played it off and wondered how those dumb humans from before didn't notice him. The village elder soon begins telling him about what happened here. Turns out, direwolves continuously attacked their village. The only one who could face them died on the battlefield. The warrior was the old man's son and this young man's brother. Rimuru felt bad but asked if they will be able to cough up anything if he accepts their request for help. They grovel at his feet and offer their undying loyalty. The timing is bad as the wolves are about to launch an attack. Rimuru announces to the panicking goblins that he was gonna fight and protect them. which they all grovel before him. Already, our boy Rimuru is taking over the world little by little. I wonder where he'll end up on the tier list. Rimuru is now here looking at these scrawny weak goblins. He's not impressed and realizes these goblins can't fight for nothing. After giving a war speech, Rimuru asks to see their wounded friends. When he's led here, he instantly began eating them, which disturbed the old man. The goblin that he ate though became totally fine. Rimuru began eating everyone and plopping out the goblins like little newborns. He then gave them orders to construct a fence. It's perfect since these direwolves are about to go on a massacre. As they howl and charge into the woods, the wolves realize something is off. There's a fence now. They notice a little slime standing guard. The leader doesn't take Rimuru seriously and sends his army after the goblins, but his laughter gets wiped when he sees his soldiers being killed like nothing. It's due to Rimuru's wires. The wolf realizes this and charges at Rimuru like a menace, only to get hog-tied and stuck. And since he won't give up, Rimuru decides just to execute him on the spot. It was rather overkill, but Rimuru did this to scare and stop the wolves from attacking them. So to convince the wolves to retreat, Rimuru used Predator on a wolf instead of a girl, allowing him to transform into a direwolf. He gained the skills and began roaring like a beast. The wolves, despite the overwhelming presence before them, kept trying to throw hands, but as they approached, they actually yield to him and announced their loyalty. Rimuru was confused and so are the goblins. Everything turned out well as they celebrate. The next day brought new friends. It was these direwolves who have nowhere to go. Rimuru decided to make them all band together. They're confused, but he made sure to get it through their thick skulls that everyone here will be friends. He's about to give everyone chores to do, but realized no one here has names. He announces he was going to give everyone names. Weirdly, everyone gets excited and went crazy. Rimuru didn't understand it, but he named the old man after his son. He was very happy. Rimuru began giving everyone very unoriginal names. He came up with them on the spot. After naming all the goblins, Gob, Gobta, and Gobsa, he named the direwolves who were very excited. But after naming the leader's son, Ronga, he broke apart and started dying. While he was out though, he was in good care. He learned from the system that each name he gave out costed a lot of mana. I've awakened! Rimuru was met with a smoking hot girl, but before he could use Predator, she left and fetched this old man, who was now extremely built. Rimuru was very confused as well when Ronga came in, destroying the place. His tail wagged so hard it created a giant tornado. Seems like everyone evolved, except for Gapta here. Rimuru and Ronga had a heartfelt talk. He was wondering why the other wolves also evolved, since he only named him. But the wolves here are actually all connected to the leader, so after falling off a cliff and rolling off, he gathered everyone just to make a dad joke. No one laughed, so he got to the point. He made the rules not to fight each other, not to attack humans, and no bullying other races. When the Goblin's son asked why, he said he just liked human girls. They all understood that he was just a cultured man. Gopta raised his hand and asked why they couldn't bully other races, which Rimuru said, they have grown strong now. But that doesn't mean they should push around weaker races. Rimuru made Rieger here the Goblin Lord. He just wanted to avoid responsibility. Rimuru gave everyone jobs to do. Everything was going well, besides the houses. Yeah, this is not going to work. Rimuru was also getting too hot and bothered with the clothes on these goblins, since they don't have a craftsman or anyone to make clothes. Rieger suggests the dwarves that they usually trade with. Rimuru gets instantly excited hearing about a new species. They rolled off and the village wished them well. The entire crew ran across the forest and mountains. They were exhausted afterwards, which is where Rimuru learned about who named the name Goblin who died before. It was the Demon Lord, who probably summoned the hero to defeat Veldora. As this set off, Rimuru had asked Ronga if he wanted revenge, since Rimuru did kill his father. Ronga said he had forgiven him already, and they were now chilling by a campfire. Rimuru asked Gopta where they were going. He explains that it's a massive place where elves... Elves? Rimuru was mostly focused on messing around with elf girls instead of actually interacting with dwarves. Rimuru asked if it was okay for him to enter since he's a monster, but it's okay. Gopta tried to say something, but it was quickly interrupted. The next day, Rimuru couldn't wait to meet the elves. Dwarves. He didn't allow the crew to enter so he could have all the fun to himself. Gopta and him lined up, but they were approached by some weird humans that were clearly missing some brain cells. They wanted to sell Rimuru for a profit, so Rimuru decided to teach them a lesson. After telling Gopta to close his eyes, he approached them and warned them. They didn't take him seriously and became outraged. They thought Rimuru was a mere slime, so Rimuru pulled out the big guns. He transformed into a direwolf, but it was way bigger this time. They thought it was a fake imitation of a direwolf, so after these guys randomly showed up, they began attacking him as a crew. The attacks completely bounced off Rimuru, and they realized realized, damn, they might be done for. It was time for Rimuru to attack, so he did a powerful roar that blew everyone away. He made the rest of the innocent people literally crap themselves. While confused, the guards came running and Rimuru tried to look cute to avoid getting arrested. So after being thrown in jail with Gopta, Rimuru explained the situation to the dwarf. The dwarf was about to reluctantly let him out, but another one came in screaming about a problem they had at a sweatshop. Their brothers were attacked and injured. They have no way to help. Rimuru tapped their shoulder and he was out of the cage. They were about to get angry, but he showed them this suspicious barrel filled with slime. It's a healing potion. They don't believe him, but the guy puts his trust in Rimuru and tells him to stay in the cage while he heads off. Rimuru becomes really bored, waiting, so he attempts an impossible challenge, trying to wake up Gopta from his coma. It's impossible, so the dwarves return to thank him for giving them the potion. Rimuru is let out of the cage and led to have an important talk with the dwarf. So after explaining why he's here, the dwarf says that he knows someone who knows someone. He's led through the steampunk-like place. Look, they even have Elden Ring armor. Rimuru notices a really cool sword. The dwarf says the guy he knows made that. Rimuru is led to this busy blacksmith, where he encounters this very tough and rugged dude. He ignores Rimuru until he notices his brothers, who explains that Rimuru is their savior. He bows his head and thanks Rimuru for saving his brothers. Rimuru is really flattered. The blacksmith asks what he needs. When Rimuru requests it, he says he can. He's backed up, not from the toilet, but his queue is full. The Prime Minister of Canada gave him an impossible task of 20 great swords in only 5 days. It's impossible to achieve. He also doesn't have enough material. There just isn't enough time. Rimuru, realizing they only need magic ore, begins laughing like a maniac and suddenly spits out a glob of magic ore. The guy becomes shocked and they all cannot believe their eyes. And when the dude removes his glasses, he realizes it's much more impressive than he initially realized. The dude says he'll do anything besides selling his feet pics, but Rimuru jumps onto the crystal and only requests that he needs someone to help them make houses and clothes for his citizens. He's surprised by Rimuru's humble request and vows to do his best. Despite Rimuru's help, they are still unlikely to produce the swords on the deadline. Rimuru knows this and requests to see the man's sword. Sword as in blade. It's glowing because that's how cool it is. Rimuru suddenly begins Goblin on it. They're confused and angry, but they let him do his thing. Rimuru uses his cheat skills to freaking duplicate this dude's sword. Everyone became really shocked, and since they have a lot more time to spare, they decide to celebrate with Rimuru. He refuses, but when they begin saying that there's gonna be elves there, he started melting under the pressure and eventually gave in. Not sure if I can show y'all this part, but screw it. For the boys, Rimuru is very happy here because there are so many slime girls, slime balls. It's like he's in slime honker heaven. The dwarves tease him about it, and Mr. Slime is super duper enjoying his time, but not for long. Rimuru does feel guilty about making light of the blacksmith's work, but he says, don't worry about it. I'll make one so good, you won't be able to copy it. During this time, Rimuru enjoyed himself while Gopta kept snoring. One of the girls brought up something about her being the best at it, and everyone in town loving it. Rimuru also had dirty thoughts, but she actually just pulled out a ball instead of his. It's fortune telling. Finally, she does it for real. This is supposed to show who Rimuru is destined to be with. Rimuru notices the girl in the ball looks rather Japanese. It's a pretty girl though, but the moment gets interrupted by this guy, who's the Prime Minister, the one trying to sabotage them. The dude is surprised the blacksmith, Kaiji, has already finished it. He then insulted Rimuru before ordering a drink, then pouring it all over Rimuru. Rimuru lets it slide, trying not to cause trouble, but Kaiji, the blacksmith, punches the guy despite everything. Ain't no way! You're insulting the goat? He chased this man down and beat him, before telling Rimuru he'll be his carpenter and craftsman. Rimuru is very happy, but the guards soon arrive to arrest him. The guards don't want to do this, but they are now in prison. The blacksmith decides to share his past, why the Prime Minister hates him. He used to be the first in command as general. The dude before was second in command. It angered him since Kaiji is a peasant, while dude was a royal. So while developing a magic soldier, or some type of mech, it went up in smoke and collapsed. The dude then pinned all the blame on Kaiji, which is why he's here now. Kaiji still says the dude is a good dude. He's just a wuss who can't accept responsibility. The two shake hands, and the others also want to join Rimuru's harem, which he says he doesn't mind. More sweatshop workers for his village. They all fall asleep, and while Rimuru is up, Gopta finally decides to wake up from his year-round hibernation. Rimuru just says you can go back to sleep. Gopta freaks out, but Rimuru tells him he's on his own. They are soon in court, where they stand. They all bow when the king approaches, besides Rimuru. The king takes his seat, and Rimuru can tell this guy is for real. They are ordered to rise. This prosecutor begins talking smack and lying on the dead homies. Rimuru also notices the Prime Minister is all bandaged up to make them look worse. The Prime Minister asks for the worst punishment imaginable. The court is ruled silent, and as the judge here gives out the unfair judgment, Kaiji is sentenced to life in slave labor. His accomplices will be 40 years in prison. As Rimuru is panicking, the king says, Wait. He asks if Kaji is doing well. They all kneel and Kaji answers with, I'm well. As the king asks if Kaji will rejoin his ranks, Kaji said, Nah, I have joined another harem. I cannot go back on my word, no matter what. The king isn't amused and says, instead of prison, they'll be exiled from the country. Kaji is crying and they are quickly sent away. Kaji and them are soon brought to the front of the gate and told to leave. They don't really mind because this place sucks anyways.